This is the Spurs POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Antonio Spurs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, we knew it was going to take a little bit of everybody for the Spurs to keep on winning, and tonight it really did, and perhaps in the most unexpected of places. Welcome into the Spurs POSTCAST right here on Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in all of the land. San Antonio winners tonight, 135-126 over the visiting Atlanta Hawks. They wrap up a homestand 3-2, spearheaded by one of the more unlikely heroes, David Jones Garcia. Our hero on this program, Devin Brown, of course, NBA champion, hanging out with us as he does every night. I'm merely Casey Viera. My friend, it takes a little of everyone, and tonight, I don't know how many more superlatives I have to acknowledge that it came from the most unusual of places, but Mitch Johnson played his hand right. He gave David Jones Garcia a chance, and he was the difference in this game.
Casey, I have something for you.
Okay.
Hey, my guy David Jones was balling tonight. That's all I got to say about that right now.
Let's tell them how they did it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Oh, nothing like a little Elvis Crespo on a Thursday. All right, so Atlanta led this game by 6 after one quarter of play, but the second quarter is where things change for the better for the Spurs. They go plus 20 in the second quarter, leading by as many as 19. 46 points they actually have in the second quarter, spearheaded by David Jones Garcia, up in that lead up to 19 with his insertion into the game. Energy guy got things going. That deficit ultimately cut to 13, the Hawks did, by the time it hits half. We talked about lack of discipline with this squad at times. There was a lack of discipline coming out of half once again because Atlanta catches fire and they chip into it that much more, and it's a 2-point game after 3 quarters of play. Atlanta takes the lead, and it's a 1-point lead, so it's not a big lead, but the Spurs make the plays when it counts. They make the high-energy plays. They force a bunch of turnovers, and for the second consecutive game, they end the game on a big-time barrage, or spearheaded by a big-time barrage, and it walks away. They walk away with a victory, a nice victory, one that saw them actually have a little bit of killer instinct to put a team down after they gave it back, and one that, Mitch Johnson and collectively the team as a whole is going to love at the end of the day.
Yeah, in the locker room, you're looking at it like this. Got off to a strong start. For everybody that was watching the telecast, you saw it get off. The first and fourth quarters looked great. I mean, one was at like plus 126. Fourth quarter is like plus 142, whatever the number was. That second and third quarter is where the Spurs are hurting themselves. Well, we saw that tonight. Now, here's where I differ from you just a hair, Casey, because the Spurs, what gets them in trouble is late in the shot clock. Well, that only happened a couple possessions. Kelly Olynyk from the right side had to force up a 3. Jeremy Sohan and he's backing his guy down, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Well, then he kicks it out late. I like to see him go up for that jump hook or make a move, right? Don't put Kelly Olynyk in that predicament when Kelly's been playing well for us. So here's the thing, and this is why I differ. They got a lot of good looks. It's just the aggressiveness wasn't there because I say this. When you're up 10, 12, 14, you got to continue to pound it down their throat, right? Mm-hmm. And we were taking a lot of outside shots, wouldn't let Atlanta get out on the fast break and get back into the game.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, Atlanta playing without Trae Young like they have a majority of the season, hurt his knee very early into the season. And they had actually come in playing very well against the Western Conference. 5-1, their only loss against Oklahoma City, had swept a 4-game road trip out west. The schedule makers haven't done them any favors. So this was a different-looking Hawks team, but a talented Hawks team, and understandably so why they came out and the Spurs eased up on the gas and they took advantage of it, and they took that lead going into the fourth quarter. But to piggyback and turn back the car back to the David Jones Garcia thing. It was his insertion back into the game that ultimately turned the tide for the better.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, so the Hawks go up by 101-100 at the 9:17 mark. Vassell hits a three to give the Spurs the lead back. Timeout Atlanta. So 103-101. Fox out, DJG back in. The Spurs at that point proceed to go on a 20-5 run to essentially take the lead, put the game away. In that stretch at one point, Atlanta went over 4 minutes, I should say, with only 2 points, and spearheaded by, again, an energy player. And a thing that I liked about Mitch Johnson, what he did tonight, he rode the hot hand, and he saw that was infectious, that, okay, De'Aaron Fox, he's played well. Fox finished with a good line tonight. Oh, no, I'd be remiss not to remember his numbers. I didn't even get into that. Fox, 26, 5 boards, 9 assists. David Jones Garcia, 12 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, and 3 steals. But he rode the hot hand, Mitch did, and he said, I'm going to ride this out for as long as I can. It's working. This is turning the game right now. And at about the 5-ish minute mark, 4 and change, that's when he brought Fox back into the game, and he left Jones Garcia on the floor too. The two of them closed things out, or at least played about a minute or so more, and then David checked out of the game. Point being, though, you like what Mitch did on that front to not go classic by the book. A great job of reading what the game was telling him, and a big reason why things turned out the way that they did.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I love that. I love how you can tell you've worked in the media way longer than I have. Because you say he rode the hot hand, Mitch. I say him and Quinn. All right, so Keegan Wallace and this David Jones Garcia, they both played in the G League. They were both first-time G Leaguers. Every time one was in, the other was in. That's a little NBA insider right there. Think about that. You have two guys. It seemed like, because Quinn went back to Wallace because he had hit 2, and immediately Mitch puts Jones Garcia back in there. And I'm going, oh, this is the NBA promoting the G League. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna get out of that. I'm sorry. Let me get out of that case. I'm sorry. Anyway, that young man played well tonight. He forced his hand. Sean Elliott made a reference to it. Hey, he's forcing them to play him. Now, I love what they were saying about Jones Garcia. Now he's playing with the first team. He's got to get those guys involved. Yeah, he did that. And then like the next 4 or 5 shots he took, including a step back 3. So, hey, that's confidence right there. Love to see it. Young man played well.
Collectively, the team as a whole, they forced what decided this game was the fact that they forced 16 turnovers, and they got 25 points off of that because the field goal percentages for Atlanta were fantastic tonight. Right. 57% from the field, 54% from 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker went off, had 38 on 13 of 17 shooting. He's been off to a nuclear start. It continues. But it speaks to what we've been saying about this team for a little while now, was that they're, especially down, the point is emphasized even more so now, down Victor and down Castle. But what we said for a while about this team was that they're going to have to win games with their defense, win ugly, because even with the guys that we know that are supposed to be the playmakers, that offense stagnates in the half court at times, and it hits a rut. And there's points where that offense is really dull. And they need, the point that I'm making, even with the when fully healthy. So you knew they're going to hit that impasse now. But when you're playing defense like that, getting turnovers, getting out on the run, capitalizing on that, that's going to win you games. And it did tonight.
Yeah, no, hey, listen, Mitch can draw up all this stuff in the locker room, and I know he does, him and his coaching staff. But you gotta go out there and play, right? You gotta go out there and play. And at the end of the day, it's gonna look like that sometimes, Casey. That's what we had a lot of success when I was there in San Antonio, but there were games where us as players, we'd walk in there and it was like, that was ugly. But it's a win. It's better to win than it is to lose, right? So You want everybody to get a grasp of what it is you're doing defensively. At the end of the day, watch film tomorrow and get ready to head to Phoenix. But right now, these last 3 games, you're 3-0, not 0-3.
Yeah, and 11-4 on the season. Spurs taking care of business tonight. They finish a 5-game homestand, an eventful one. Ultimately, with a winning record, they go 3-2. Not much more you could ask for at that point, especially after you lose the first 2 games. Coming up on the other side, now we put that bullet point there for a reason. Now the hard part starts, because there is a very difficult task that awaits this San Antonio Spurs team. How they get through it, what they need to do to get through it. Got that coming up for you on the other side of the break. But before we get there, I want to talk to you about some of our friends who make this program possible. All right, let's have a conversation about Quo, and something everything business owners know too well is missed calls. When a customer tries to reach you, they can't get through. That's money slipping away. Quo, spelled Quo, is smarter, the smarter way to run your business communication, so you never miss an opportunity. It's the #1 business phone system built in 2025, not 1995. So you got everything you want there. Simple, modern, designed to help you communicate faster, look even more professional, stay connected wherever you're working, however you may be. So try it free at QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And yes, you can keep your existing number. No missed calls, no missed customers over there for Quo. Also, Rugia tonight, one of the sponsors driving our program. Making excuses, as we know, doesn't solve anything. We've heard it all before. Stress, tired, happens to everybody sometimes. But when it comes to performance, your body just needs the little extra support. Rugia's got you. They offer a fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatment for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. It's easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online. None of those awkward waiting rooms, in-person appointments. It's shipped discreetly to your door. Visit Rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. Going to get you 15% off your first order. Rugiet. Stop making excuses and start making moves. And finally, when Skims announced they were making underwear for men, the reaction made perfect sense. People have been talking about Skims comfort for years. Most guys, though, stick to what they've been buying since college. Same fits, waistbands around the roll, a whole lot of settling. Skims Men's changes that. One upgrade, and it's obvious why everyone's been talking. Designed to feel good, fit right, and actually stay put. No slipping, sagging, adjusting. Genuinely great underwear that makes you feel confident and comfortable. So shop Skims Men's now at skims.com. And when you place your order, choose podcast in the post-purchase survey is what they have, and select our show from the drop down to let them know that the Locked On Podcast Network sent you. Welcome back into the Spurs postcast right here on Locked On Spurs as we bring back in our buddy, Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown. I'm merely Casey Viera. One more thing about the David Jones Garcia before we pivot a little bit. Something that sticks out to me when I see guys like this go off, unsung heroes, if you will, it just speaks to the NBA, and it always resorts back to the Jeremy Lin insanity thing. You always wonder at the end of these benches just how many Jeremy Lins are out there. Not to suggest that Jones Garcia is going to turn on some Linsanity stretch here. Mm-hmm. But from your experience, when you see some of these teams, these benches like that, how many of those type of players do you think exist, just diamonds in the rough, and then when they get the chance, they just, hop on that rocket and they're gone?
How many players are on the NBA roster? How many can you suit out? Because back when I was playing, it was 12. I think they bumped that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Now it's up to 15 and then 17 with the two ways. Yeah, 15 and 17 with the two ways. Yeah.
There's 15 of them, Casey.
Yeah.
Anybody, any night. Back when I was playing, it was 12. That 12 guy can go to Miller's Pond or any rec center and give you 40. I mean, the regular guy, you don't stand a chance against the NBA guy, and that's the funny thing, right? A lot of fans, have guys that they cheer with, they have guys that they cheer against, but nah, you're not even close to what it is the NBA guy can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at all and this is a great point. I want you to look at this. Look at all the salaries he's playing behind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so with San Antonio, they love him. He's a guy that fits the locker room. But right now, if you continue on a stretch like this, and he's earning the right to get more minutes now, he's earning the right to get minutes. Don't know if the minutes are going to be there.
Yeah.
But he's earning the right to get them. Hey, there's a few teams, Memphis, a few teams. They need a point guard because they're having some issues right now.
Yeah, no, it's true, especially at that position as well. I'll tell you a team that could use it though, the team that he's currently on, because it is a beast of a stretch that awaits this Spurs team, departing on the road for 4. A stretch where I want to make sure I get my math right. They have 7 of their next 8 on the road. So the next 4 beginning Sunday in Phoenix goes Phoenix, Portland, and Denver. Both of those games, Emirates Cup games. And then at Minnesota. Yeah. Back home for a quick pit stop against the Grizzlies. Then out east at Orlando, at Cleveland, at New Orleans. And then that blank week with the NBA Cup in the middle, whether they qualify for the knockout round or got somebody else. Point being, the really tough stretch happens now. And they're not playing. They're not playing in their building anymore. The classic narrative is that the role players play better in their gym. So how does something like this translate to when they really need it for a team that's still very fluid right now with what they got with all the injuries? How does something like this translate?
Hey, listen, as a coach, Mitch, he's going, hey. The guys have a lot of confidence before they get on that plane tomorrow, 3:00.
Yeah.
A lot of confidence. That's great from the coach's aspect. From the players' aspect, well, hey, listen, I'm going to the same meal. Hey, if I had crawfish stuffed salmon with mashed potatoes from HEB Central Market, then that's what I'm doing again. All right. I want that same feeling. All right. Point being, they needed to play well in this last home game for themselves to have confidence on the road. All right. It starts in Phoenix, and then I'm not going to get into that whole gauntlet because my whole focus right now, if I'm a player, is Phoenix.
Well, and I think probably not only as a player, but if you're Mitch Johnson right now too. Mitch is just going out there every single night with this team, down the injuries. You're just trying to piece things together, hope it works. And you can't view it as an extensive road trip that awaits, because you don't have the luxury of that when every single night, because of the injury situation, you don't know what you're going to have.
No idea.
No idea. So you can't really get wrapped up in all those miles that I just mentioned that they're going to rack up, because he has no choice. Because if he does that, he's losing focus of the present. And then if you lose focus of the present, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, like in all honesty, Casey, he's not. It's okay. Yes, they'll pack like suitcase wise. Each player will probably have, I don't know, 4 or 5 bags with him. But as far as Mitch himself, no. He's focused on making sure that his team is ready. And by the time the end of the first quarter in Phoenix is done, he's got a chance. They're not down 10 or 15 or 20. That's the only thing that he's worried about, is making sure that they get off to a good start in that first quarter. They'll break it down like that, make sure we're in it at halftime. By the time the fourth quarter starts, if we are down, make sure it's around 10. All right. If you're within 10, we have an opportunity. Now, if we're playing well, hey, listen, we got to finish this game out.
We'll see. Now the challenge, it pivots just as much to him as well. Because like we said before, when all this happened, this was going to be the biggest test of Mitch Johnson's young career. And so far he's passed it with flying colors. A guy who was also passed the player of the game test with flying colors.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Tell him.
What Oh,
I was giving you the platform. You know, yeah.
well, my bad. No, I understand the young fella played well, but I'm gonna go with one of my favorites. I'm going with Keldon.
And that speaks to how well that this team played tonight, was that we didn't even get a ton into Keldon. Go ahead.
Keldon, 25 and 9. 20, and again, in the first half, he does what he does when he comes in the game. He provides the energy. He had a hammer dunk, a big offensive rebound. You know, Casey and I, we always talk about that. That big offensive rebound. It shout out to everybody else that played well, but Keldon tonight for me.
Got the job done. And we talked about it yesterday on the squad. He continues to get the job done, and he's just been fantastic, and it resonated again tonight. Spurs are hoping that's the case come Sunday when they make that aforementioned trip to Phoenix. We're not going. We'll be sitting comfortably in our own homes, and that's where you should be hanging out with us once the game is final right here on Sunday Spurs POSTCAST. Up until then, though, we know Jeff Garcia's got you covered not starting, but every day. Tomorrow back again before the weekend with the title pod Locked on Spurs. Be sure to make that your first listen starting today. And Josh Lloyd, Locked on Fantasy NBA, make that listen number 2, especially if you're big time in the fantasy basketball world. Spurs taking care of business tonight, a 135 and 126 victory. As always, you guys are the everydayers. You make this fun. You make this possible. You're the reason the Locked On Podcast Network is the #1 sports podcast network. So again, we thank you for that. So good place to leave it on a Thursday night. We'll sign off for my dear friend, Mr. NBA champion, Devin Brown. I'm Casey Viera. Spurs win again tonight, 11-4 now on the season.